This is Richard Fowler. I'm John Kilpatrick with Okolona Aikido, Louisville, Kentucky, USA. And recently I did 3 videos on Nikkyo. And so now I'm going to do, and we covered a lot of different aspects of Nikkyo. And this time we're going to do another video talking about Nikkyo in a different way. So even with all the things we did, we're going to do something different this time. And here we're going to use Nikkyo as a model for Aikido people to help them understand leading. And the reason for using Nikkyo is because it's something that Aikido people will have learned in their basic Aikido training. And so for what we're going to do is use a wrist grab, which is what you normally practice in Aikido classes, except here we don't, but it's what most people practice. So if he, yeah, you need to make that go away. So if he's going to grab my wrist, I stick it out, and the first thing I do is turn my palm up. And that lets me be able to circle over his arm. Now, when this is normally practiced in Aikido classes, a guy just stands here and does his Nikkyo. For our purposes, that's not good at all. If I use this hand, he reaches for it, I turn my palm up. When my hand turns over, my body pivots. So now, 2 things, if I go to the other side, when I come here. Now you can pivot this way, but the point is that the hardest thing in leading is that when the attack is coming, particularly if somebody's using a knife, you just want to get out of there. And so you tend to start pivoting. Yeah, if he's coming with a knife, you know, I want to just pivot immediately. I want to get out of there. And when you do that, your partner can follow your movements. And we are used to doing that. I mean, we're used to, you get better and better at attacking too. And it becomes very difficult. You can't just pivot out of the way if your partner's paying attention to what they're doing. And this is something I noticed when I first started in Aikido, that when I would try to stab somebody and they would just pivot out of the way, I could always stab them. Or maybe not always, maybe sometime I wouldn't be paying attention. And if they were stabbing at me and I would try to pivot out of the way, they could stab me anytime they really worked at it. So, and our teacher said, well, don't worry about that, just stab straight. And I didn't find that acceptable and still don't. So what this does is that when he starts, my hands go out, and then I hook over here, and that pivots my body. Or in this case, I would do it with the other hand, and my hand pivots over here. I want my hand to end up between him and me. I'm not parrying him. People, a lot of arts, and particularly non-fighting arts, parry. You know, I took fencing, and people who study fencing get really good at parrying and defending parrying. You know, they probably make superb knife fighters if they just spend a few days practicing with a knife instead of a sword. So the first thing this does for us is that when he comes, it gets me to move my hands first, then pivot my body. This is very difficult to do, but I think this movement helps tremendously. And so, you know, I'm calling this a Nikkyo type movement. It could be a wrist out turn also. So if he grabs my wrist with this hand, he's got the knife in the other hand. Whoa, you're going to change hands. Okay, that's fine. See, so I'm here. If I'm turning this way, this is more of a Kote Gaeshi out-turn type movement. But that doesn't matter. What matters is that when he goes to strike, yeah, you can get the knife. Both my hands go out like this. So then this is really fast. This is like a Kuta punch. So, you know, in a Aikido class, we practice, everybody practices at an easy pace. Falling in Aikido is a real art. A lot of Aikido is actually gymnastics. This comes from the U.S. occupation of Japan when martial arts were illegal, and so they made Aikido into a gymnastic system. And you still, if you look at Ruji on YouTube, he does a lot of gymnastics, and you can really see there where it still is gymnastics. A lot of Aikido, the balling is gymnastics. And it's hard, and it's, so we go slow so that you have time to do all your gymnastic stuff and all. But that's not very good for fighting. So we don't do that in here. We leave out the gymnastics and we try to move at fighting speed. So when he attacks, my hands go out, boom, I'm hitting, and then usually I would take this into a throw, and if I get a good hit knocking him forward, I take him forward. If I hit and he doesn't go forward, then I'm coming back into an Arimi Nage or something, and that would be practice style. A real fighting style would be coming up under his chin or something. So there are 2 points to this. One point is that it's 2 movements. And so the first movement is like somebody grabbing your wrist and you turn your hand over, then you pivot. And I would not do this because this leaves this hand where it can't do anything. So I wouldn't really do it that way. It would be really here and then here where I can keep coming after him. And the other thing about it is that these things are strikes. They're not these casual movements where you're, moseying around the mat. You can't learn that way. You learn all wrong. And then when somebody comes at you fast, you get hit. So training that way, which has been done in every dojo I've been in, is not preparation for real fighting. And so for preparation of real fighting, when he's coming, it's boom, So you're coming, this is a Kuta punch, boom. And then I would drive him into the mat. So, and there's one other thing I want to mention here, and that is if he's striking Shomanuchi, so he's coming down, in this case, it would be, let's do the other hand. He's grabbing my wrist. Well here, if he's grabbing with this hand, say my wrist is in here, and he grabs, I'm going to turn it so my palm is toward him. And then so I turn my palm toward him, then I make this pivot, or if it was this hand, see, it'd be here, and then I make this pivot and step in. Now, I'm not going to do what I just did. I did this to show you this Nikkyo, this Kote Gaeshi kind of movement. But I wouldn't do that because I want to keep this between him and me. So I would just be pushing all this into the floor. I would not hook over it. So this is really important. So these are the points. So going to the other side, if he strikes, say, a Shomanuchi, it's just boom. And so you've got these 2 movements. As he starts, I'm striking here. This is a strike. And I do not stop. So boom, boom, and I'm all over him. And a lot of fighting arts I was looking at a special forces training, and they don't have any time to train special forces guys, so they teach them with the knives. This guy that teaches, they just have them doing this. Well, the guy's got a knife, and he's just standing here sewing machining the other guy. Well, you've got to hit him and stop him with his first stab. With his first stab, you're here, and then you've got to have hit him by the time he would hit you. You cannot let that sewing machine go on. If it goes on, your chance of living is not good at all.